Hey guys, it's Jay, and today I finally have to do my World War II review. And I've been stalling as long as I can, but I can't stall any longer. The game's been out for a week, and it's time to finally go ahead and get this underway. And the reason I've been stalling is because this has been one of, if not the worst, Call of Duty launches ever. Anyway, I'm going to try and look past all that and review the game based on what the potential of the game is rather than what the current reality is, because hopefully it won't be the current reality much longer. Okay, so since this video got off to a pretty rough start, we're going to start off with something positive about the game here. I really like the maps in this game. I was really worried coming into this game that the maps wouldn't have any character to them and there wouldn't be anything special about them. I was playing a lot of Modern Warfare Remastered before this game came out, and one of the things that I hate about that game is that the majority of the maps can be described as the brown one with lots of broken buildings surrounding an empty street with a broken tank. And that is like literally 90% of the maps in that game. They didn't have any character, they didn't have anything special, nothing stood out about them. And I was really worried that that was going to be the same thing here. Is going to be every map is the one with the broken buildings and lots of rubble and some broken vehicles. But that's not really the case. Every map seems to be pretty unique in terms of the setting. You know, you got the one with the trenches, the one with the giant cannon, the one with the trolleys. You know, they all, you know, the one on the ship, the one on the building top, like they all kind of have this special thing that makes them unique, and that makes me really happy. Also, the maps play pretty well. I've seen a lot of people complaining about the maps and claiming that they don't play well. That really hasn't been my experience. In my opinion, they play really well, and I've played a variety of game modes. I play a lot of different game modes because I play with a lot of different people, and each of them likes something different. So when I play by myself, I pretty much play Hardpoint exclusively. Then I have people that I always play Domination with. I have people I always play Team Deathmatch with. Going for weekly challenges, I've done, you know, Gridiron and Capture the Flag and Free for All and everything else. And in all of those things, the majority of the maps play really well. The exception to this rule is USS Texas, and I hate USS Texas so much. I might actually do an entire video about everything wrong with USS Texas. It's a terrible game that I honestly wish they would just pull from the rotation. Even when you only have 9 games or 9 maps to begin with, which is incredibly low, and I'll get to that later. The fact that I want another map taken out of the rotation is a pretty strong statement about that map. But aside from USS Texas, I think every map in the game serves a purpose. I think they all play fairly well. Some are better than others, I'll admit, but none of them are maps where it's just like, oh, it's that map, I'm leaving this game. Which is unique for Call of Duty because every Call of Duty except for Black Ops 3, there has been multiple maps where I just plain will not play them. And while we're on the subject of maps, I do want to rail against Sledgehammer Games a little bit here because I'm really aggravated at the lack of maps in the game. More recent Call of Duties have launched with 12 maps. Back in the day, Call of Duty launched with like 15 maps, and this one only has 9. And that really irritates me a lot, because I know what's going on. You see, Sledgehammer Games is the most innovative developer of Call of Duty, and that is to the benefit of Call of Duty. If you stay static in anything, you will get passed by the competition. You know, Call of Duty is currently the king of console shooters, but it could very easily be overtaken by something like Destiny or Rainbow Six or even Titanfall. if it doesn't keep innovating, keep moving forward, and yes, even keep stealing certain elements of those other games to add to their own game. That's just how business works. You want to always be moving forward. The problem is that you also don't want to just forget what got you there in the first place, okay? It's great to add a sunroom or an extra level to your house, but you don't want to do that in spite of the foundation of the house. You have to keep everything that has already existed in top working condition. And that's what Sledgehammer Games seems to fail to realize. They, in Advanced Warfare, they gave us exosuits, and that was a huge innovation. That probably changed the game more than anything in any previous Call of Duty. The problem is that it sacrificed map flow and gun skill. So, like, while they innovated and they changed the game and they made it new and exciting, they left behind certain elements of Call of Duty that are staples of the franchise and need to be there. You could say the same thing about the variants in Advanced Warfare. Again, very innovative and very exciting. I'll admit that I got excited anytime I opened a supply drop and heard, epic really loud. That's awesome. And you want to see what you got, and you're looking forward to getting a certain variants and everything. The problem is that when you have 300 different variants that change stats, weapon balance goes out the window. So again, they're innovating and building on what Call of Duty used to be, but they're doing it in spite of what Call of Duty used to be, and they're sacrificing what got them there in the first place. And now you move forward to this game, and it's like, yeah, okay, the headquarters is really cool. I assume I haven't seen a populated headquarters yet since day one, and it wasn't working very well. I'm looking forward to seeing what that looks like once they get it all set up and running properly. And war mode is fun. I like war mode. But the problem is that when you take the time to make the headquarters and the war mode, you sacrifice 25% of the multiplayer maps. We have 25% fewer maps than we should have had or we should expect to have in a Call of Duty launch. And then when you look at the DLC, because they've announced that, you only have 3 multiplayer maps in that with 1 war map and 1 zombies map. And again, you're sacrificing 25% of the content for the core multiplayer mode. And it really bothers me that Sledgehammer Games seems to have this attitude of, we want to innovate and be exciting and bring Call of Duty in new directions and do all this fun stuff. And it doesn't matter if we sacrifice the things that have made Call of Duty so popular to begin with. No matter how much you enjoy those things need to be added on top of what got you there, not in spite of. Don't sacrifice the foundation to build another level onto your house. So the next thing I want to talk about is weapon balance, and I think that the weapon balance in this game is either really solid or really bad, depending on how you look at it, because there is multiple ways of looking at weapon balance. So I'll start out with what's good about the weapon balance. There's really no overpowered weapon in this game, not like one single, that's the god gun. Like I know that the BAR and the PPSH are both really popular guns, and that's probably what you're getting killed by the majority of the time in the game, but they're really not overpowered. Like, when you look at the assault rifle class, yes, the BAR is probably the best assault rifle, but it's not so much better than the FG42 or the STG that you can't use those. Like, you can do just fine with those other guns. And it's not like in Ghosts, where if you weren't using the MSBS at launch, you were putting yourself at a disadvantage, or Advanced Warfare, where if you weren't using the Ball 27 at launch, you were putting yourself at a disadvantage. There are multiple assault rifles that you can use in this game that are very solid, very usable, good guns. There's probably 3 or 4 assault rifles that are good. And really, like, every SMG is good. The Push is obviously the most popular, and I would say it's the most well-rounded one. But, the Type 100 is also very popular, and that's a great long-range gun. And the The WAF and the Tommy gun are both excellent up close guns. You're going to beat the PPSH every time up close with those two. And the grease gun and the Type 100 will beat the PPSH at long range. So really the push is the most well-rounded, but it's not necessarily the best. The guns not only feel very well-balanced, unlike Advanced Warfare, but they also feel very unique, unlike Call of Duty Ghosts. Like, in Call of Duty Ghosts had excellent weapon balance, but every gun played exactly the same. You basically had one assault rifle and one SMG that were copy and pasted into 6 different versions of that gun. That's not the case with this. And again, they're all pretty well balanced. But now you might be asking yourself, if they're all really well balanced, like you say, how can you say that there's anything bad about the weapon balance? That sounds like a great thing. And the problem is that they're unbalanced when you look at it from category to category. And I think this is more of a community issue than a development issue. And I'm going to go ahead and go on a little rant here. In our community as a whole, the Call of Duty community, tends to mistake most popular with overpowered. And as a result, we complain about everything that is popular, and then they nerf everything that's popular. So what happened here is, in the beta, you had 4 maps. You had Aachen and Ardennes Forest, Gibraltar, and Pointe du Hoc. Now, all of those are maps where you can maintain a pretty close quarters pretty easily. Those are SMG friendly maps. Now, it's also very easy to use assault rifles on those, but they're SMG friendly. And in the beta, we had access to every SMG except the MP40, while we only had access to, I believe, 4 of the assault rifles. And so what ended up happening was you got a lot of SMG use in the beta, and you started seeing people pop up on forums saying this game is too SMG heavy, it's going to be SMG constantly, the SMGs are overpowered, you can't even use an assault rifle in this game, and everything else. And they complained about the SMGs because they kept getting killed by SMGs, and it was annoying to them. As a result, Sledgehammer Games released a blanket nerf on all SMGs. I'm not exactly sure what they did. I know they increased recoil. I think that they reduced range, and they might have even touched on the fire rates. I'm not sure. Now you have a situation where the assault rifles outclass the SMGs in every way imaginable. There really is no excuse to use an SMG unless you just want the mobility of an SMG, or you want a silencer. The STG, for example, can beat almost any SMG at almost any range. There is no situation where the PPSH or the Type 100 or the grease gun, the most popular SMGs, there is no situation where those have an advantage over the STG. When we start getting hard-coded stats and we find out like how each of these things is coded to play, it will not surprise me at all to find out that the STG has fewer shots to kill and a faster fire rate than any of these SMGs, except for the things like the WAF, which are useless outside of close range. It's basically just a shotgun. The problem is that the things the community complains about, like shotguns, like sniper rifles, like popular SMGs, like popular assault rifles, they get nerfed because they get complained about constantly, and the developers want to keep the community happy. And so you get things where something that is not overpowered in any way, shape, or form, but is very popular because people enjoy using it, gets nerfed. And that irritates me. And now in this game, like I said, there's no standout gun in any class, but there is definitely a standout class. The assault rifles are way too powerful in this game. The SMGs are not nearly good enough at what SMGs are supposed to do, and as much as you might want to complain about shotguns, try using them. They are really bad in this game. Shotguns are really poor in this game, and as a result, you may not have a single overpowered weapon, but you definitely have some misbalance within the weapon classes. So overall, I really like this game. And again, I'm really looking forward to seeing what this game looks like once they get it all figured out, once they get it all fixed, and once we can put this awful launch behind us and see what it is the developers really had in mind for the game. I honestly believe that this has a chance to be one of, if not the best Call of Duty ever. In my personal opinion, I really, really like it. I think it plays really well. Again, I think there's some minor balance issues, but it's not that big of a deal. And yeah, it's just being handicapped right now by this awful launch that they just can't seem to get fixed. So thanks for listening and watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on future content. And goodbye.